Hi everyone, my name is Mike. Welcome to the channel. In today's video, we're going to be going over 3 different exercises that are designed to help you find relief from your knee pain quickly and effectively. Now, a quick note and disclaimer before we get started. These exercises are meant to be educational in nature only. If you have any questions, please seek the advice of a qualified health professional in your area. I am not your doctor. If you have any issues or any pain while doing these exercises, please stop and refer to a trusted health provider in your state or local area. Now, just quickly, before we get into the exercises themselves, I think it's important to explain a little bit about the why behind why we're doing some of these exercises, and for you to understand exactly what is going on and potentially understand the root cause of where your pain is coming from and why these exercises are helping alleviate your pain. So when we have pain in a joint, specifically in our case, we're talking about the knee joint. The knee joint has millions of nerve endings that bring information from the joint all the way up through our spine and our nervous system into our brain. There's a receiving center in that brain. Now that part of the brain, that processing center, also takes in information from our vision, okay, and from the balance centers that are found inside of our ears. So our brain takes that information, the vision information, the balance information, the information that's coming to it from the joint, and processes all of that and makes decisions about our movement based off of all of that information. Now, if there is a mismatch in that information, let's say there's a physical injury, let's say there's inflammation or damage in the joint, that's called nociceptive pain. Okay, that's a very specific type of pain where that information is coming from the joint and telling the brain that something is wrong. That's, in a way, that's good pain, right? It's telling us that we've maybe reached our limit, or the body needs to repair that area, or we should stop doing whatever we're doing. Okay, that's nociceptive pain. However, if there's no damage in the area, but there has been damage before, our brain can start to process that information over a long period of time into a concept of something called central sensitization, okay? It's a very fancy way of saying that our brain basically gets used to the pain being there, and then even when there's no pain left over in that joint, when there's no damage left over in that joint, there can still be the sensation of pain, and it can still restrict us from doing what we want to do, whether that's hiking, gardening, running, any sort of physical activity that involves the joint that we want to use. Our brain can actually cause pain the other direction. So rather than there being an issue with the joint itself, or even if there is an issue but there's no inflammation, there's nothing actually triggering the nociceptive pain receptors, this is called, in some sense, we can refer to it as phantom pain or protective pain, but it's not truly reflective of the strength and integrity of our joint at that point in time. So with that, if we can tell the brain that our vision is safe, our balance is safe, maybe there's a mismatch with our vision system, our balance system, all of that together can cause us to have an issue with what's going on, and that can manifest itself as pain in that area, okay? So when we do these exercises, you might be wondering, why am I doing a vision exercise? Why am I doing a balance exercise? Why am I training these areas when the pain is in my knee? The underlying root cause is this process. If we can address not only the integrity of the joint, but also the vision system, the balance system, and all the other systems that are working together, we can take a holistic root cause approach to finally getting closer to solving the problem of our pain. Now, before we get started and actually doing the exercises, we want to take an assessment or get a baseline of where we are at right now. So I want us to, on a scale of 0 to 10, 0 being absolutely no pain, in which case you probably wouldn't be watching this video because you likely have pain. So 0 being no pain, 10 out of 10 pain being the worst pain you've ever felt. If that's the case, you probably should stop watching this video and go see your trusted health professional, okay? So 10 out of 10 being that worst pain ever. If we're at, say, a 5 out of 10, it's bad enough that we want to do something about it. Maybe it's a 6 or 7 out of 10 and we want to get it down by doing these exercises. So again, we want to take that baseline, figure out where we're at, maybe walk around, maybe do some knee movements and just kind of see where we are right now before we get started. Okay, so I'll show you kind of what I'm talking about. Right, we're just doing some movements. It's kind of saying, oh, okay, you know, even for myself, I'm at about maybe a 3 or a 2 out of 10 right now, just because I'm coming off of some running, some physical activity. So that's where I am right now at the start of this video. All right, so now the first exercise that we're going to do is going to incorporate that vision system that I was talking about. So this exercise is called the H vision exercise. So what we're going to do is we're going to take our finger or a pen or some object, we're going to put it out in front of us. We're going to look at it, okay? And then while this object is moving, okay, in front of us or to the side of us or above or whichever, we are going to keep our head looking straight ahead as best as we can. Sometimes it veers off to the left or the right a little bit, but if we find that that's happening, we just return our head back to center. We want only the movement to come from our eyes, okay? So we're going to put our finger right in front of us like this. We're going to look at it. Then we're going to go in an H pattern, the letter H, okay? So we're going to start here. We're going to look at it. We're going to slowly follow our finger kind of to the outside. Then we're going to follow it up. And then back down to the middle. Then down to the bottom till we can't see it anymore. Back to the side. Then back across. And back to the middle. And that's half of the H, okay? So then when we're here, we can switch hands. We'll go across till we can't see it anymore. Bring it back to where we can see it in our peripheral without moving our head. Okay, then we're going to go down to the corner where we can't see it. Then we're going to come back up again. Up to the corner. Back down to the middle. Eyes are always looking there. Head is staying in line here. And then we're following it just with our eyes back to the center, okay? So all of that, right side, left side, that was one exercise. We want to do that 4 to 6 times, okay? And that'll be it for that exercise for this round. All right, so for this second exercise, this time we're going to do a similar exercise with our eyes. However, this time our movement is going to come from our head and neck, okay? So this time we are allowed to turn our head to accomplish what we're doing for this exercise. So we are going to put our finger, our thumb, whichever, just a stationary object right in front of us, okay? Then we are going to keep our eyes fixed on our finger in the middle here, and then we are going to turn our head away slowly and keep our eyes looking at it till we can't see it anymore. Once it's out of our vision, then we stop. And then we come back, keeping our eyes on it, fixed to the center, okay? If you want to switch hands for the other side, we can do that. We'll look at it, keep our eyes on it, till we can't see it anymore, which for me is right here. Come back, keep looking at it, till our head is at center, okay? That's one exercise this way and back. That's all together one exercise. So again, we can do that anywhere from 4 to 6 times. If that starts to cause you to get dizzy, that's another signal maybe you need to stop, okay? We don't want to go past dizziness or past the point of pain while we're doing things. If it causes certain symptoms like that, that's where maybe if that happens more than once, we would go get checked out, okay, by someone local to us. But that is the exercise number 2. All right, so exercise number 3 is now going to incorporate something closer to the knee joint, but this time we're going to incorporate the hip joint, okay? So if you can do this standing and it's safe and you have good balance, feel free to. If you need a chair to hold on to, let's say you're a little bit wobbly and you can't stay stable, that's also okay too. So pretend there's a chair here that you're holding on to, all right? What we're going to do is for the leg that is hurting, so in this case for me it'd be my right knee, okay, we are going to activate our right hip and we are going to bring on some range of motion. We're going to increase the range of motion in that hip joint, because oftentimes if there's an imbalance between the communication of the knee, the information coming from the knee and the hip, that can manifest itself as knee pain, even though the root cause is in the hip and part of the brain, okay? So to do that, we are going to bring our knee up as far as we can, and obviously our hip, so it's kind of a 90-degree angle here. Then we are going to open up as much as we can at the hip. Then we are going to bring it back while staying as stable and as stationary on our standing foot as possible. We're not leaning, right? We're not moving around like that. We're just coming up, opening as far as we can go without pain. And then once we're kind of back here, then we're bringing it back to center and doing it again. Okay, now if you need to take a rest, whether you're holding on to something or just doing it like I am, kind of freestanding, feel free to take a rest between rounds or reps, okay? But we're gonna bring our knee up, open up again. See how all the motion is meant to be in our hip here. I might have some imbalances myself, but we're not veering off to the side or doing anything like that. We're keeping upright, straight, and trying to focus all of the motion in our hip, okay? So up, open, back, come back kind of to midline there, and done, okay? So that's one exercise, two exercise reps, okay? So you can do 4 to 6 of those, and that's the third exercise. All right, so now that we've done those 3 exercises, we want to take another inventory or an assessment of how we're doing, how our pain is feeling on that 0 to 10 scale, maybe some motion in our joints as well. We want to kind of see how that's doing. So again, just do some of those motions that we did at the start, maybe walk around a bit, right? Move our knee. We can even do some squats if we couldn't do it before. We just want to see how we're doing. Of course, the ideal is that our pain has gone down. If maybe we were at a 6 out of 10, we want to see it be at a 4 out of 10 or 3 out of 10. If that's the case, that's awesome. If it didn't change, that's okay. You've done some motions that are important to getting yourself back on the path to health and healing. Motion is always going to be positive for a joint in almost all cases, especially when it comes to reducing pain. If it caused more pain, of course, that's where my disclaimer comes in. If it made it worse, we don't want to push through the pain. That's a common myth that if there's no pain, we don't get any gain, okay? I want to get that out of the way right away. If it causes pain, pain is a signal that our body can use to protect us. And so if that motion causes more pain, feel free to maybe ease off of these exercises, try again in a couple of days. And then if it still persists, please go and get checked out by someone, a local health provider close to you, okay? But hopefully these exercises helped. My goal is that if anything, if this reduced your pain, then we're well on the way to health and healing, and it can be just that simple, okay? So if you like this video, feel free to like, share, and subscribe. Send it to your friends that are dealing with knee pain if you found this useful. And until next time, make sure you get outside. We'll see you in the next video. Thanks.